so we can show them both sides. So we can show them that even though they are not peaceful in showing how they detest our skin and how we are.
Welcome to this edition of Viral. I'm your host as always, here JC. Glad you can hear here on Viral as we talk about George Floyd, George Floyd, the protests, the movements, the riots, and anarchy rules. First thing first, joining the conversation using the hashtag Viral here on Connect. As you can see right here in the background, we are in black, in solidarity for the Black Lives Matter campaign and the remembrance of George Floyd. Now, we talked about last week, George Floyd passed away when he had a cop nailed on his neck. And it was the most devastating, unspeakable tragedy that any person could go through when he said he couldn't breathe when he his mom. It's heartbreaking to hear that, and heartbreaking to see that a black man in America being devastated. And his last words was, "I can't breathe." It was devastating to see. We're not going to play the video, but, the clip's out there. So, you can see it for yourself in the clips. Like I said, let's go to the progress on what had happened. The officer got charged with third-degree murder, and the other 3 individual officers didn't get charged of late. But as we speak right now, there has been some new charges been updated. Let's go to see on news reports what's been going on lately with this.
Derek Chauvin had been charged with second-degree manslaughter and third-degree manslaughter and third-degree murder. Now he's being charged with second-degree murder. The other 2 officers you saw right there who were also holding down George Floyd are also being charged with aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter and murder. That's Thomas Lane and Alexander Kong. And Total, the 4th officer there standing to the left, will also be charged with second-degree murder and manslaughter. I want to go to Alex Perez on the scene there in Minneapolis. We're expecting to hear from the Attorney General, Alex, within the hour.
Yeah, that's right, George. These upgraded charges against Officer Derek Chauvin and the charges against the other 3 officers are what protesters, thousands of protesters, and the family of George Floyd have been demanding for the last week. In the court of public opinion, it seems they wanted these charges a long time ago. Now the court of law catching up with them, charging these officers. The family had been demanding for first-degree charges, but the Attorney General has said multiple times first-degree murder charges in this case is very difficult to prosecute. He has said several times that he was reviewing all of the evidence and going to upgrade the charges to the place that he felt would be best able to prosecute in a court of law. And now we're seeing that officer, Officer Derek Chauvin, the officer seen with his knee on George Floyd for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, now charged with second-degree murder. Those other officers charged for their roles, they're seen in that video. 2 of those officers you can see in the video with their knees also on George Floyd's back.
As you saw right there, the 4 officers got charged with second-degree murder by the Attorney General. And the Attorney General. This happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Minnesota Attorney General doing the right thing, charging all 4 men. Now these 4 men have to pay for their sins and what they did to George Floyd on that fateful day. It's unspeakable that he had to go through that, and the officers should have done it right. Hey, if a man was doing a $20 counterfeit bill, you know what? He should not even he should not have dealt with that being like put down to the ground, being treated like the way he did. It's sad. It's sad. And their approach, it could have been handled a different way, but unfortunately, things just don't. Things just it's frustrating to see stuff like that when you know that people, the cops and stuff, like those cops, they were bad cops on that day, and then those cops are making it bad for other cops. And like I said, some good cops, like I said, it was just unspeakable that day. And those cops wasn't being productive as they should have, and knowing the right protocol and stuff. But it's sad that he see that. Well, let's go to this. Robin Roberts, GMA, spoke to George Floyd's brother and see how he was processing this whole event of his brother last days. Take a look.
Now to an ABC News exclusive. We are joined live by George Floyd's younger brother, Terrence Floyd, along with his minister, the Reverend Kevin McCall. Gentlemen, thank you both so much for your time this morning. And first and foremost, Terrence, our condolences continue to go out to you and your family. Can only imagine what this past week has been like. I know that you traveled from New York to be there in Minneapolis because you want to visit the site where your brother died. Can you just let us know your thoughts going into what we know will be an emotional visit for you, Terrence?
Yes, that's correct. I came here from Brooklyn, New York, and I just wanted to, when I found out the news, like I said, it's been just devastating. I'm still a little numb about it, but I got people, people in my corner just being there for me. So going there tomorrow, I just want to feel my brother's spirit. I just want to, I don't know, for lack of better terms, just connect with him again. That's basically what I want when I go to that site.
No, I'm sure that will be quite an experience for you, and I hope that you will feel his spirit and be able to connect with him like you want. Let people know what your brother was like. What do you want people to know about him? We've heard that he was referred to as a gentle giant.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. He was a gentle giant. He was about peace, unity. When you spoke to him, he always wanted to motivate you, no matter what you was going through. He always saw the light at the brighter side of things, and he made you feel like you could just do anything, like you could rule the world, even if you're going through something. That's just how he spoke to you. And I just remember, times when I did speak to him, whether it was in person or over the phone, he just really helped me. Really. Yeah, he was a motivator. I'm just gonna. That's how I could just sum it up. He was a motivator. Peaceful motivator.
Yes, I know. And he would appreciate that the majority of the protests have been peaceful, but as you know, Terrence, is being overshadowed by those who are exploiting the protests. Are you and the family concerned that will take away from the message, the call for justice for your family and in this country?
Yes. Yeah, yes, I do feel like it's overshadowing what's going on because, like I said, he was about peace, he's about unity. But the things that's transpiring now, they may call it unity, but it's destructive unity. It's not what he was about. That's not what my brother was about. He would motivate you to channel. If you're angry, it's okay to be angry, but channel your anger to do something positive or make a change another way. Because we've been down this road already. We've been down this road already. He would want us to seek justice the way we are, the way we're trying to do, but channel it another way. Channel it another way. The anger,
Thank you for that,
ripping up your, damaging your hometown is not the way he wants.
And let me ask you, Reverend McCall, there's so much anger and exhaustion and frustration. How would you encourage people to channel their emotions?
Well, we have been through this in Brooklyn, New York, when dealing with Staten Island with Eric Garner. And we decided when we were contacted by Terrence Floyd, we decided to bring a delegation, myself, along with attorney Sanford Rubenstein, Christopher Banks, community activist, because we know what the people are experiencing in Minneapolis. So we said that we're gonna come down here and call for peace and unity. We can be able to call for justice, but we need peace as well. And we need the peace of God that passes all understanding. The Bible says, be angry, but sin not. So it's good to protest, and we want to continue to keep the protest while we continue to call for justice, but we need peace. We don't need looters, we need peace. And the best way that you can be able to get peace is on your knees, praying and asking God to heal our cry. We've been dealing with the virus, the COVID-19, with our left hand and fighting that pandemic, but we also been dealing with this pandemic of police brutality across this country with our right hand. So we need to continue. So today at this site, we're going to continue to do the clarion call for peace and for justice as the family go through this process. Nobody is more angrier than the family. So you shouldn't be able to understand that you have to be able to respect the family wishes of George Floyd to understand that this is what they want. And it's not about you doing looting. It's not about violence. It's about the family and the justice that they want to be able to see what's going to happen.
That is well put, Reverend McCall. Thank you for those words. Thank you for being there for the family and with Terrence right now. And we appreciate you joining us this morning. And please know that we are continuing to pray for you and that we are continuing to send out our sincere condolences to you and your entire family. Thank you, Reverend McCall. Thank you so much, Terrence. Please take care.
Thank you.
Robert Roberts having the interview with George Floyd's brother. He said his brother cried, saying that he ain't gonna see his brother no more. It's understandable. You don't want to see nobody go through no hurt, no pain, no stuff. It's sort of like it's unspeakable. It's devastating. All right. Let's hear what you people had to say. We have a litany of people, celebrities, activists, politicians, entertainers, a whole bunch. This is going to be the most fully lit what the people say about the death of George Floyd and how all this came to fruition. Yes.
We've been faking it. We've been faking it for too long. We smile in each other's face at church, at work, and then we leave and then we support stuff like this. And they think I'm the villain? You don't think this is the villain? You think I'm the villain? I'm tired. I know I'm on the side of righteousness. I know that. I prayed about this. I didn't have a speech prepared at that part. I did not have a speech prepared when I got out here. I didn't know what I was doing. I never took down a statue in my life, but I was convicted. I said, this thing has got to come down. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I want to love my white brothers and sisters. I told them that. I want to love them. There was a guy out here who was in favor of the monument. They tried to beat him. I protected him. There's video. I literally put my arms around and said, y'all can't hurt him. We just disagree, but you can't hurt him. That happened last night. He'll come forward. Eventually, he'll tell the story. Yeah. I did that. I'm on the side of righteousness. It's got to go. I'm tired of faking it. I can't sit in church with y'all no more talking about, you know, we worship the same blue-eyed Jesus, and then you treat us like we're less than. And then you brag about a constitution and say we're all created equal. I'm tired. I'm tired of this shit, man. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah.
If I gotta die for it, that's it.
All right.
It is what it is. I'm tired.
Yeah. We apologize for the cursing. You know, he's very emotional right now.
Apologize for the cursing. Apologize for that.
Yeah, I appreciate
me using the S word is nothing compared to everything that's behind that. I'm sorry, Jay. You know I love you.
I know.
We got to talk about it. We got to be honest.
All right, guys.
I want to love y'all.
We're going to have more coming up, guys.
Wrap my arms around
We're going to have more coming up.
I didn't want to come, and I don't want to be here. I'm the son of an Atlanta City police officer. My cousin is an Atlanta City police officer, and my other cousin, East Point police officer. And I got a lot of love and respect for police officers, down to the original 8 police officers in Atlanta that even after becoming police had to dress in a YMCA because white officers didn't want to get dressed with niggers. And here we are 80 years later. I watched a white officer assassinate a black man. And I know that tore your heart out. And I know it's crippling. And I have nothing positive to say in this moment because I don't want to be here. But I'm responsible to be here because it wasn't just Dr. King and people dressed nicely who marched and protested to progress this city and so many other cities. It was people like my grandmother, people like my aunts and uncles who were members of SCLC and NAACP, and in particular, Reverend James Orange, Mrs. Alice Johnson, and Reverend Love, who we just lost last year. So I'm duty bound to be here to simply say that it is your duty not to burn your own house down for anger with an enemy. It is your duty to fortify your own house so that you may be a house of refuge in times of organization. And now is the time to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. It is time to beat up prosecutors you don't like at the voting booth. It is time to hold mayoral offices accountable, chiefs and deputy chiefs. Atlanta is not perfect, but we're a lot better than we ever were, and we're a lot better than cities are.
Hoover got a mall. Everybody got a fucking mall. Everybody got a shopping center. Trustful got the Pinnacle. Everybody. Put them all on alert. Everybody in the metro area need to be on alert because, bitch, we coming. You don't know when the fuck we coming. Just know we coming. We started in Birmingham, but guess what? Bitch, we coming. And we coming deep. We coming to a city near you. a city near you. So all you racist ass folk that got away with racism for far too long. Guess what, bitch? Your time is up. We gonna show you that niggas stand strong, and niggas gonna come, and we gonna come in that city, and we gonna fuck it up too. Ain't nobody exempt. Why Western Hill Mall? Western Hill Mall ain't got shit anyway. They ain't got shit anyway. They ain't hitting up but goddamn 3 stores in that bitch. You talking about why Western Hill? Shut the fuck up. That's because you want to go get some ugly ass lashes and get a fucking haircut. I got family members that own a business in the mall. But guess what? Sometimes there's casualties in the fucking war. The revolution. This is the fucking revolution. Well, we should have started there first because we ain't proved shit last night. Yes, we did. We proved that we come and fucked up. We've proved that the police did not stop nobody in Birmingham last night for 8 hours. 8 fucking hours last night. 8 fucking hours. Who got the power? We got the power. Ain't no power like the power of the people because the power of the people don't stop. It ain't no power like the power of the people because the power of the people don't stop. There's way more of us than it is them. And like I said last night, if every person bring one other person with you tonight, they can't stop everybody. They can't stop everybody. Shut it all down. Black people don't need to shop nowhere else for no longer in this county. Y'all should be tired of spending money.
It's hard being black in this country when your life is not valued.
Ella Baker said, until the killing of black men, black mothers' sons become as important to the rest of the country as the killing of a white mother's son, we who believe in freedom cannot rest until this happens. She said that in 1964. And we're still echoing those same cries today. It was hard to listen to that interview.
It's just so much pain. You get so tired. We have black children. I have a 15-year-old daughter. I mean, what do I tell her? I'm raising a son. I have no idea what to tell him. It's hard being black in this country when your life is not valued. And people are worried about the protesters and the looters. And it's just people who are frustrated, who for far too long have not had their voices heard. And so you put me on after his brother, and I feel like I lost my brother. And nobody cares about the video. They had a video in Ahmaud Arbery. And 2 different solicitors looked at that video and declined to press charges. And so for those of us who have a mistrust of the system, it's very hard for us to do anything else other than just to cry this morning. And then hope and pray that we are not sitting next to Ben Crump one day. That's about all we can do.
Bakari, your father was shot more than 50 years ago. 50 years ago. And we're sitting here this morning and watching it happen again. So where do you find the hope? How do you tell your son and daughter that it's going to get better?
I don't know. I mean, maybe Dante has the answer. I don't know. I mean, I try to keep hope. I try to keep faith. I keep telling my children they can be free. You know, I want my kids to one day be able to grow up and be the host of New Day. I want them to be able to be a United States senator or president. But, you know, what happens if they get pulled over and they comply? What happens if they get judged by a father and a son who just are on a good old-fashioned South Georgia lynching? What happens if they get served a no-knock warrant like Breonna Taylor? I mean, what happens if that? How do you raise your children in this America to understand free when we see these images of them being gunned down in the street and a knee in the back of the neck for 8 minutes like a dog? So I don't have that answer other than every day I just tell them I love them. That's all I can do.
There were people out there like Jamie Foxx, Ariana Grande, Halsey. There were some celebrities that were actually involved in the mix as well. And a lot more have been speaking out and posting, but not everybody feels like they're doing enough. CNN's Don Lemon actually called for celebrities to get involved and be more seen. Take a look.
By me calling out your name, that doesn't mean I'm calling you out. It means I love you, Ellen. Right. It means I love you, Oprah. And I know they give millions of dollars to charity every year. But I mean your visibility in helping speak out for these people, these young kids. That's what I'm talking about. And you may be doing something that I don't know about. And if you are, then I apologize. I want to see you, Tracy Ellis Ross. I want to see you, Tyler Perry. I want to see you, Drake. I want to see all of you. I want to see you, my friend Anthony Anderson. I love you. I love all of you. I want to see you doing this. I want to see you, Diddy, out there doing this. I want to see you, Jane Fonda, who I love and respect. I want to see you out here fighting for these kids.
He feels like basically they should be doing more. Do you guys agree?
You know, I agree in the sense that Don knows what this needs to make a bigger impact. And that's a leader who has a voice, who people are going to listen to. And I think looking back at the Women's March, we saw all these celebrities put their faces on things, talk at rallies. He just wants that same support and that same energy that people have for the Women's March to be here doing the same thing. And I feel like sometimes other celebrities have to call out other celebrities to make sure that they come through when people need them, not just when they need people to buy their products or watch their TV shows or buy their albums.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's necessarily him calling people out. I think he's just stating names that have a huge impact, have huge audiences, that have the responsibility, if they're going to be in the position that they're in, somebody like Ellen, who's hosted a show for millions of years, who is obviously a lesbian herself and has faced her own form of oppression. I mean, these are the people that need to come forward immediately to show their support. And I think he's just saying, like, guys, like, where are you right now? Like, this is on you to speak up for this. I mean, Taylor Swift spoke out and wrote it. I mean, I just feel like no matter how small, if you have a micro following or a massive following, and I learned that myself over the weekend, you must make your point of view clear. No matter if you say the right thing completely or not.
100%.
I'm conflicted. I have to say I'm conflicted because for me, it's like I do want people to speak out. Like I'm a huge advocate of people speaking out. And at the same time, I have to say that the bar, especially I have to tell you over this last weekend, I was disappointed by a lot of celebrities. I was disappointed by what a lot of them were saying or were not saying. Some of them even, you know, blaming the protesters for things. And it just felt like some of the messages lost because some of them are so disconnected from reality. And a part of me is like, I don't even know if I want to hear from you at this point. But, you know, I do feel like we need to hear something. But now I feel like in more than any time, I'm like, maybe there are some people that I had too high on a pedestal.
100%. But listen to what Beyonce had to say. Take a look at this.
We need justice for George Floyd. We all witnessed his murder in broad daylight. We're broken and we're disgusted. We cannot normalize this pain. And I'm not only speaking to people of color. If you're white, black, brown, or anything in between, I'm sure you feel hopeless by the racism going on in America right now. No more senseless killings of human beings. There have been too many times that we've seen these violent killings and no consequences. Yes, someone's been charged, but justice is far from being achieved. Please sign the petition and continue to pray for peace, compassion, and healing for our country.
You know, Nina, I heard what you said right before this clip went into, and you said that you were waiting and that you were kind of disappointed that celebrities hadn't come out because, you know, maybe, you know, X, Y, and Z. But I want to tell you, and I want to tell everybody out there that it's never too late. This fight is not over. People will be protesting and we will be fighting for this until we get some change. So it's not too late. Things can happen in the next week, next 2 weeks, next 3 weeks. So anybody, if you have anything to say it whenever you feel comfortable.
I don't have a lot to say because I can't get my words together right now. But I wanted everybody to know that this is what those officers took. At the end of the day, they get to go home and be with their families. Shiana does not have a father. He will never see her grow up, graduate. He will never walk her down the aisle. If it's a problem she's having and she needs her dad, she does not have that anymore. I'm here for my baby. And I'm here for George because I want justice for him. I want justice for him because he was good. No matter what anybody thinks, he was good. And this is the proof that he was a good man.
In the street, stateside, again, while saying that he can't breathe. That's a continuous cycle going on. And although I don't live in the States, but I'm black. Fuck that. So I say it again. Fuck you racist white people. I said what I said. And if you don't fucking like it, go suck a dick. Seriously. It's not about career. It's not about money. Because a lot of people like to bring that up. Oh, career, money, all these things. All those things were just a part of my dream, just a part of working. That's got nothing to do with how you treat people. It's a madness. So when I say it, I mean it. And you lot can't rattle me. That's another thing. You can't rattle me. I'm not the guy to be rattled. I wasn't raised by no weak people. You understand? I ain't the guy to be rattled. So first of all, you're going to respect black people online and make sure if you comment on all my pictures or videos and you saying anything about no black people, you saying any racist shit, that's straight up block. It's fine. It's ready. Don't need you on my page. And if you're a fan of me and you support my work and you're racist and you're arguing with what I was saying, fuck off. You fucking dickheads. Yeah? So I straight up like that.
And I did want to turn to the terrible death of George Floyd, which is inflaming protests, not only in, obviously in Minnesota, but also now in Chicago and LA. Stephen Jackson, a close friend of Floyd, is a former member of the Bay Area's legendary 2007 We Believe Golden State Warriors. He spoke about the loss today. Let me play a little bit about that to you.
What's killing me the most about this whole thing is being a professional athlete. So many people abuse your friendship and your kindness, and he was one of those guys that genuinely supported me. He didn't call unless he really needed it, and you don't have many people that genuinely support you without any motives, and Floyd was that guy.
Madam Speaker, what is it going to take for our country to address the issue of police violence against people of color across this country repeatedly, year after year?
It's really quite a challenge. Let's just personally address, though, the Floyd case. It's so very, very sad because the American people saw an execution, a murder right before our very eyes. It wasn't self-defense. There has to be justice in that case. And to hear Mr. Jackson and then Bridget, Mr. Floyd's sister, talk about him, she said he was such a gentle person, he wouldn't hurt a fly. So lovely, so missed. Our prayers and thoughts are with him. But whether he wouldn't hurt a fly or not doesn't mean that he should be executed on TV or any place that we saw it, so we can't deny it or qualify it. So justice has to be done. He must be prosecuted. In any case, my Congressional Black Caucus, I just got off the phone with the chair, Karen Bass. They have been talking about this issue for a very long time because it's been with us for a very long time. There are some initiatives, a commission on the social status of Black men and boys that Congresswoman Wilson of Florida has been putting forth. The Judiciary Committee is writing about this and Aubrey to the Justice Department just about recent cases. Say in the past number of years, there have been 1,000 cases of deaths from police brutality. Overwhelmingly, the overwhelming number are deaths of blacks. So there's the data is there, the challenge is there, and it cannot be ignored, nor has it been by our leadership in terms of our Black Caucus and others. But we just have to take this moment. I probably shouldn't say this because every single case is a terrible tragedy. But at this time, when we're so sad about the loss of so much life, in some cases so unnecessarily, and the fragility of life, to see a life taken, it just, it hits in a very, very sad and special way. Mr. Aubrey as well.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.
The death of George Floyd sparked outrage around the world after video emerged of his brutal arrest by Minneapolis police. Video taken by an onlooker on Monday night showed a white police officer with his knee on Floyd's neck. In the video, the 46-year-old could be heard screaming, "I can't breathe," and begging for the officer to remove his knee. Hours after the video was taken, George died. Minneapolis police claimed they arrested Floyd as a suspect in a forgery case. All 4 officers involved have since been fired, and both state and federal authorities are investigating the incident. In the days since Floyd's tragic death, celebrities from all walks of life have taken to social media to express their own outrage, sadness, frustration, and pain. From award-winning director Ava DuVernay to singer Demi Lovato to Star Wars actor John Boyega, here are some of the stars who have publicly spoken out about George Floyd's tragic death.
Another day, another hit sitcom for Tashina Arnold. We're so excited to have her here to talk about something she's been involved with for years. It's the College Television Awards. We press a button, we cross our fingers, and here she is. Yay! Nice to see you, Tashina. Thanks so much. And we apologize. We had some technical snafus on our end, but we're so glad that you're here.
It's okay. My life has been a technical snafu for the past 6 months, so it's all good.
Okay.
And before I even talk about myself, I cannot in good conscience start even thinking about talking without sending a shout out to Floyd George's family. And I pray that they find some resolve because his murder was horrible. Horrible. And it's a sad day today for a lot of Black people in America.
You know what? I'm glad you bring that up. And if you don't mind, I'd like to ask one additional question about it. There's so much on social media today, a lot from African Americans suggesting essentially, see, look, you, I think referencing other communities, don't get it.
No.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, and thank you for talking about it because this is repeated behavior. This is behavior that Black people don't deserve. And most certainly it's on video. It's there for us to see. Unfortunately, this is going to continue to happen until, I always say, I think I would like for more white people to start speaking out about it because, we as Black people, we yell, we scream, we do what we can, we march, we protest, we do all of these things. But until laws change and until people are held accountable. So I hold all my white friends. I'm like, look, protest with me, yell along with me because it takes, we're stronger in numbers. And I'm so sad for his family today to watch him literally the life leave his body on camera. And this happens to Black men and women and children all the time in America. And enough is enough. We've had enough. We've had enough. Laws need to change. We need to, this has got to stop. And especially now, people are battling with COVID, we're battling with disparities. It's just not a good thing. So we all must do what we can for humanity at the very least. So, but thank you for allowing me to get that out a little bit. I'm trying to contain myself.
What's going on with the police departments? Murdering and killing unarmed Blacks, and these are just the ones that we saw on video. Just imagine the ones that we have not seen or where they were not able to record or didn't have the phone in their hand. And imagine if it's going on now, how long, imagine the 60s and the 70s and things that happen behind the scenes that nobody even know about or whatever. You just know that your loved one has passed away and they probably told it they died in jail. And when you start thinking about Philando Castile and Mike Brown and Sandra Bland and all of these different people that were shot down and murdered like dogs. And David, we were talking about police, white supremacists have infiltrated police departments all over the country and everything that's going on. And none of these officers are going to jail, except for the Black cop that shot the white woman in Minnesota. He went to jail or whatever. But the white cops that kill unarmed Blacks don't go to jail. And first of all, thank you for calling in and good morning. And how you feeling and what do you think about all of this?
Well, Ricky, man, you know how long I've been at this, bro. And the question that first of all, good morning and thank you all for always respecting and looking for my voice. I really, really appreciate that. In my opinion.
I didn't even say your damn name. I'm my bad, brothers. Hey, y'all get up for my little brother from another mother, the one and only David Banner in the building. Sorry about that, man. I'm so damn mad I can't think straight.
It's all good, bro. This is the question that I just want to ask people. One of the problems that I have is we as a whole, we keep acting like, that's why I'm glad you said what you said. There's a systemic problem in America. And, people are starting to see that white supremacists have been ghosting and being a part of the police department, but that's always been the case. When the Ku Klux Klan was supposed to be shunned by America, they took off, in a lot of cases, they took off their white sheets and put on blue. And the problem to me with black people is we consistently think that politics is for us. We consistently think the police is for us. I hear so many black people consistently say these people need to be arrested. And we start feeling good when we hear words like the FBI is investigating. That's like me saying it's a part of the same system. It's like me saying my hand is investigating my foot. My hand is part of the same thing. So if we constantly see these people constantly getting investigated by these systems and nothing ever happens, then what are we going to do? Think about this. George Floyd is not going to be able to see a judge. We think these white folks' lives are better than our lives. No, we want the same thing that you took away from us. If you take my child away, I don't want your sorry. I want your child. And until we start respecting and loving black life, because think about this, Ricky, I want you to think about this. Anytime a person face is away from a cop, there is no reason for you to pull out your gun. If I'm running away, why are you pulling out your gun? If I'm face down, why are you pulling out your gun? If I'm already cuffed, why is your knee in the back of my neck? Why is a black body left out for 5 or 6 hours in the middle of the sun when you know you wouldn't do that? Black people keep wanting equal rights. I don't want equal rights. I want better rights. So for me, until their lives start being affected, till their mothers and fathers start. It's a friend of mine. Right now, my company is working on making a bulletproof vest. And the reason why I started working with this company, this cop out of Atlanta said that he started making bulletproof jackets for black people because he noticed that the victim never got a chance to make it to court. We only get their side of the story because our people died. So I want everybody out here to think, stop looking at celebrities. Stop looking at everybody outside of your community. If you want this kind of stuff to stop, what are you willing to do? We always talk about black history, and one of my mentors told me this. Our grandmothers and grandfathers constantly sacrificed for us. Think about what they did in Birmingham, what they did in Mississippi, what our parents would sacrifice in order for us to have the things that we have now. What is our generation willing to sacrifice to make sure that our children don't have to go through the same thing? Because we're talking about the same thing our grandparents talked about. So that means that we need to sacrifice more. So I'm not asking you what you're willing to post. Because Ricky, I want you to think about this. Every time we post an atrocity on our social media page and we don't do nothing about it, we show every other race of people that these people can continuously take our lives, and we're not going to do nothing about it. So you become the poster child for white supremacy when you post black people dying, but you don't do nothing about it.
You better. Ooh. Wow. Man.
That's the deepest thing I've heard. And it's almost like, trying to go and change a formula. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't figure out the math problem. So you go back and change the formula. The formula is set. You know what I'm saying? It has never been, and, it's not set for us, because if that was the other way around, if those police officers was black and there was a white man or a white woman laying on the ground, they would be in jail right now without bond.
Ricky, let me ask you a question. Don't white supremacists hate everybody that's not white?
Let me say that again.
White supremacists hate everybody that's not white, right?
Right.
They don't do that to Jewish people. They don't do that to outwardly gay white men. You want to know why? Because if you do something to them, they gonna do something. They're not gonna expect the police to do something. The police are a fraternal order. Let's be clear about what they are. They're gonna protect their brothers as much as they possibly can. So why would you even want this? As a matter of fact, wouldn't it be safer for him to be in police custody right now? We don't think about the stuff that we asked for. How are you gonna let somebody else serve justice when somebody has done something to your community? White people don't wait for justice. If a black person do something, they come to your house. Do something to a Russian if you want to. They ain't waiting for American cops. They sending clips to call to your house.
You are
See,
absolutely
the problem
correct.
is the problem, and Ricky, this is painful, but this is the truth. Most Negroes want to be white. So when something happened to a black person, they look at it from a white person's perspective. We look at ourselves the same way white people do. In order for us to ever be free, we got to let something go. I watch basketball players, football players, rappers, everybody talk about during Black History Month about sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice for the death of a black person? That's it. We ain't got to do too much talking. I'm talking about the everyday, ordinary person. I'm talking about the person that worked at the corner store. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? If you do see him, what you gonna do? George Zimmerman is still around here selling stuff that has to do with the murder he committed, and he's still walking in the streets. But everybody a gangster.
I've been saying
So
that.
nobody
Yes, sir.
cares. If somebody don't bring back your dope, you go into their house and you gonna do something. Think about this, Ricky, and people gonna get mad when I say this. If a black person kill a black person, if a black person kills a black person, your grandmother will tell you, y'all need to go see that Negro. When a white person does something to an innocent black person, we want to pray.
Oh, yeah.
God gave you everything that you needed on this earth to handle what you need to handle, what you're praying for. God has showed you over and over again that they will not do nothing for you. So you are the fool if you don't do nothing back. Period.
Realest thing I heard.
Yeah.
That's real. And those are my thoughts. And all of those are my thoughts. Hey, brother, I love you so much, Dave.
I love y'all.
Hey, let everybody know how you can be reached.
DavidBanner.com.
There it is, man. All right. Hey, David Banner, thank you, man. I appreciate you, bro.
All right, man. Peace, love y'all.
Yes, sir. Gary got the tea and the clue today. Coming up next, Ricky Smiley Morning Show.
The forensic scientists, Dr. Michael Biden and Dr. Alicia Wilson, who did the family's autopsy, said that George died because he needed a breath. And so I am imploring, along with George Floyd's family, for all of us to take a breath. For peace, let's take a breath. For justice, let's take a breath to heal our country. And most importantly, let's take a breath for George Floyd as we get ready to memorialize him this week and lay him to his final rest on next Tuesday. Let's take a breath this week to heal the country and to remember George. Let's follow George's example. He would have wanted peaceful protests. He wants everybody to use their voice, but he wants them to do it in a constructive way. So as we get ready to memorialize him on tomorrow at North Central University with all his family, I also want us to remember that Breonna Taylor, the young lady who was executed in the sanctity of her own home in Louisville, Kentucky, birthday would be on Friday. So let's take a breath for Breonna as well. Let's take a breath for Ahmaud Arbery as well. Let's take a breath for Terrence Crutcher as well. Let's take a breath for Pamela Turner, who was killed in Houston. Let's take a breath for Alton Sterling, who was killed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Let's take a breath for Philando Castile, who was killed here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's take a breath for Laquan McDonald, who was killed in Chicago, Illinois. Let's take a breath for Sandra Bland, who was killed in Texas. Let's take a breath for Natasha McKinney, who was killed by police in Virginia. Right. Let's take a breath for Stephon Clark, who was killed in Sacramento, California. Let's take a breath for Corey Jones, who was killed in Palm Beach, Florida. Let's take a breath for Botham Jones, who was killed in his own apartment in Dallas, Texas. Let's take a breath for Eric Gardner, who was killed in Staten Island, New York. Let's take a breath for Freddie Gray, who was killed in Baltimore, Maryland. Let's take a breath for Walter Scott, who was killed in South Carolina. Let's take a breath for Jamar Clark, who was killed here in Minneapolis. Let's take a breath for Tysell Nelson, Northside, Minneapolis. Let's take a breath for Michael Brown, who was killed in Ferguson. Let's take a breath for 12-year-old Tamir Rice, who was killed in Cleveland, Ohio by the police. Let's take a breath for Trayvon Benjamin Martin, who was killed in Sanford, Florida. Let's take a breath for Emmett Till, who was killed in Mississippi. Let's take a breath collectively for all of the marginalized and disenfranchised and dehumanized people, whether black, brown, white, or red, who were killed unjustifiably, who were killed unnecessarily, and who was killed senselessly because they are American citizens, one, they are human beings, two, and finally, we should all remember they are children of God. The response of the world has been heartening to this family. Their entire family have been very heartening. They receive it as a blessing that George Floyd's life mattered to more than just them. It is very important to note who George was. There are videos on social media that George believed in peaceful protests. Brandon Williams, who was George's nephew, who was like a father to Brandon, said that they talked almost every day. And during the Ferguson protests, during the Baltimore protests, and just recently during the Sacramento protests, you had George Floyd praying for peaceful protests. You know, the forensic scientists, Dr. Michael Biden and Dr. Alicia Wilson, who did the family's autopsy, said that George died because he needed a breath. And so I am imploring, along with George Floyd's family, for all of us to take a breath. For peace, let's take a breath. For justice, let's take a breath to heal our country. And most importantly, let's take a breath for George Floyd as we get ready to memorialize him this week and lay him to his final rest on next Tuesday. Let's take a breath this week to heal the country and to remember George. Let's follow George's example. He would have wanted peaceful protests. He wants everybody to use their voice, but he wants them to do it in a constructive way. So as we get ready to memorialize him on tomorrow at North Central University with all his family, I also want us to remember that Breonna Taylor, the young lady who was executed in the sanctity of her own home in Louisville, Kentucky, birthday would be on Friday. So let's take a breath for Breonna as well. Let's take a breath for Ahmaud Arbery as well. Let's take a breath for Terrence Crutcher as well. Let's take a breath for Pamela Turner, who was killed in Houston. Let's take a breath for Alton Sterling, who was killed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Let's take a breath for Philando Castile, who was killed here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's take a breath for Laquan McDonald, who was killed in Chicago, Illinois. Let's take a breath for Sandra Bland, who was killed in Texas. Let's take a breath for Natasha McKinney, who was killed by police in Virginia.
That's right.
Let's take a breath for Stephon Clark, who was killed in Sacramento, California. Let's take a breath for Corey Jones, who was killed in Palm Beach, Florida. Let's take a breath for Botham Jones, who was killed in his own apartment in Dallas, Texas. Let's take a breath for Eric Gardner, who was killed in Staten Island, New York. Let's take a breath for Freddie Gray, who was killed in Baltimore, Maryland. Let's take a breath for Walter Scott, who was killed in South Carolina. Let's take a breath for Jamar Clark, who was killed here in Minneapolis. Let's take a breath for
Tysell Nelson, Northside, Minneapolis. Tysell.
Let's take a breath for Michael Brown, who was killed in Ferguson. Let's take a breath for 12-year-old Tamir Rice, who was killed in Cleveland, Ohio by the police. Let's take a breath for Trayvon Benjamin Martin, who was killed in Sanford, Florida. Let's take a breath for Emmett Till, who was killed in Mississippi. Let's take a breath collectively for all of the marginalized and disenfranchised and dehumanized people, whether black, brown, white, or red, who were killed unjustifiably, who were killed unnecessarily, and who was killed senselessly because they are American citizens, one, they are human beings, two, and finally, all remember, they are children of God. Thank you so much. We will respond to you when we get the announcement.
Pain is raw. The pain is real. The President of the United States must be part of the solution, not the problem. But this president today is part of the problem and accelerates it. When he tweeted the words, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts," they weren't the words of a president. They were words of a racist Miami police chief in the 60s. When he tweeted that protesters, quote, would have been greeted with the most vicious dogs, when people would have been really hurt, end of quote. They weren't the words of a president. They were the kind of words Bull Connor would have used unleashing his dogs on innocent women and children.
That was a lot. And speaking of a lot, the protests came in and came out from different cities, from Atlanta to Dallas to Houston to Chicago to New York to LA. They all came out to riot. They all came out to loot, vandalize. They wanted their voices to be heard and wanted change to happen and the change to take place. Let's look at how the looters, the looters and the vandalism, and how the protesters took issue with protesting for the right cause, to say that Black Lives Matter, and how the protesters want their voices to be heard with this.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. As a citizen of Minnesota, I'm sorry for the loss of George Floyd. All right? My heart hurts as a human being. Last night when I talked to the group out here who peacefully assembled, they peacefully assembled here to have their voice heard. And what we're asking tonight is for the same thing. One of the things that the crowd asked for last night was to have the officers in the Army removed, right? So we're off. So for the men and women and children that came out last night to have their voices heard, we heard it, and we're going to stay back behind, invisible, so that you can't see us. Is that okay? Yeah. Thank you. First Amendment. Yeah, man, you get a hug. I'm gonna hug. You get a hug. You bet, man. Hey.
Your reaction of what happened tonight in Washington, D.C., the president saying he's going to deploy the military if, quote, the city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents.
It's shocking. You know, I was watching CNN with my daughter, and the split screen was, he was saying he stands with peaceful protesters, and on the other side, his police troops were shooting at peaceful protesters. You know, in this country right now, we need a leader who can bring calm, who can bring unity, who can show the compassion and competence that we need. If they could put this kind of energy behind the Defense Production Act and start producing swabs, we could do the testing to keep people safe. If they could just muster some sort of acknowledgement about the pain, the historic pain that is coming to a tipping point right now around criminal justice and civil, you know, what is happening here in this country, it would go a long way. But the fact of the matter is, what happened in the Rose Garden tonight is only, I'm fearful, going to further fuel the animosity and angst and anxiety in this country. And I think it is more destructive than what I was hoping he would say.
Can the president send in active military troops to your state without your approval?
You know, the president, apparently there are outreach efforts to ask for acknowledgement of federal officers in states. And I can tell you that states, my understanding is that they can't do it without the approval of the governors. And I can also tell you that it's probably not going to happen in a lot of our states.
Would you ask for, at this point in Michigan, would you ask for federal troops?
You know what would help take the heat down from everything? A real showing, a genuine showing of concern about the underlying problem here of police brutality, a genuine concern about how we ramp up our testing across the country to combat COVID-19, which has had a disproportionate impact on communities of color. That's how we get through this moment, not by looking at one another as enemies and declaring civil war on one another. That's not going to fix the problem. It's only going to make it worse, Anderson. And as the governor of a state that is really hurting right now, I'm calling on all leaders on all, both sides of the aisle to come together and to show competence and compassion and give people hope, because that's what we need more than anything.
I just got to ask you again, though. I mean, just because the president has thrown this out there just an hour ago, saying, that all governors should call in the National Guard, and if you don't, he will act. What does that mean to you? Would you ask for? I mean, are you in a position right now where you want federal military forces?
If it ever came to that moment, it would be because they've just thrown a lot more gas on a fire that is burning. I don't want that to happen. And that's why when you look at the sheriff in Genesee County, whose video went viral because he was actually engaging with people who are hurting, the protesters, that's how we solve the problem, not by throwing more police and military at something that is festering. We acknowledge it and we try to solve this problem, not militarize this.
One of the things that, that has been so encouraging has been the scenes of protesters, defending stores so that they don't get looted. Protesters, defending, in some cases, police officers, or at least communicating with police officers. But we have seen in some cases protesters defending police officers and trying to tamp down violence. and not wanting their peaceful protests, not wanting their legitimate protests and demonstrations to be, taken over by, by elements that are out there with, are going to break into a store or take stuff, because that's not what the vast majority of these protesters are about.
That's right. I mean, the vast majority of people who are showing up to protest really care about the issue. They care about the George Floyds of the world that we didn't hear about because it wasn't filmed. They care about addressing the issue of police brutality and years of this inequity that is showing up in COVID-19 as we hold a mirror up to the United States of America. The vast majority of people are doing this out of genuine concern and desire to make sure that we as a country do better on behalf of all Americans. And yet we know that there are people with their own agendas that are infiltrating these events and turning them into violence and vandalism and undermining the real cause that they're supposedly there to be supporting. And that's precisely why we absolutely support the right to protest. But what we want to make sure is that these other forces don't come in and undermine it and to make it into something that's dangerous. And that's why the president's words today were so dangerous and so distressing, both his words to the governors in our call earlier and his address to the nation moments ago. This is a moment in our country where we need peace, we need unity and compassion, and we need an agenda that actually fixes the problems that we are suffering from.
Don't follow that bullshit. That's the devil's work. And what I love about this man and this man, what I love about this city is that they want people of color to be talked about as being thugs and we're bums and my people, as an immigrant, we're rapists. We know what? We built this country. We ain't going nowhere. The ship has sailed. So if you've got hate in your heart for people of color, get over it. Okay? Because this city is a minority majority city. And this city is a city where blacks and whites and browns and legal and illegal all get together because we judge each other by the content of our hearts. Okay? So I am angry. I'm angry. I'm angry because people don't understand, well, why are black people so mad? We had a little old lady stabbed by a crazy man in that officer-involved shooting that stabbed that little old lady. And I had a press conference. I was angry. You might have seen it. But what people don't understand, I was angry because I looked at that video and I saw my mama's face. And when a black man, I may not be black, but I'm God's child. When I saw that man calling out for his mama, I thought about my mama. What I kept thinking is, he must be seeing her already in the street.
Yes, he was transitioning.
They're not letting her come.
Yes.
So I'm here to tell you, we will march as a department with everybody in this community. I will march until I can't stand no more. But I will not, like Truth said, I will not allow anyone to tear down the city.
Amen.
Because this is our city.
We don't have to do that.
Don't pay close attention. Because these little white guys with their skateboards are the ones that started all the shit. You
better speak.
Full well, black people and brown people are angry and knowing that they will start. If they start it, we will follow. Don't follow that bullshit. That's the devil's work. Tear our communities down because they know communities of color need the police more than anybody.
Tell you, we want to be with y'all for real. So I took my helmet off and laid the batons down. I want to make this a parade, not a protest. You got little ones here, you got dogs, so what's up? So listen, I'm just telling you, these cops love you. That cop over there hugs people, so you tell us what you need to do.
someone had set a police car on fire. So there is at least one car on fire. Doors of several police cars are open. So they are in the cars and now setting them on fire.
This is just a matter of
This
time
is
now.
downtown Atlanta tonight.
Yeah, and so we're now, congratulations Atlanta, doing what we don't do. It's now part of us. So this is now part of our new reality. And
how do you stop this fire from spreading?
well, I'm not qualified to answer that
I
question.
mean, right.
But
So just
yeah,
looking at this now, this is not good.
No, so a decision's going to
Unfortunately.
have to be made here, and a real value judgment's going to have to be figured out on the danger in which to put law enforcement versus containment, because this is about as bad as we've ever seen in this town in our careers, certainly, and the visual says it all.
Being here, the brother of George Floyd, and he's there with a friend. And this is, I think, Sarah, this going back to where this happened and just being there where his brother was breathing his last breaths. I can't imagine. I mean, we've seen so much pain playing out all over the country, but this is the origin of it. And this is a family that is dealing with such grief. I just can't even imagine what his brother is going through right now.
And it's not just a family. Look at this. Stike, turn the camera. Look at this. Look at this. Look what's happening in this neighborhood. Everyone is on their knees as George Floyd's brother is on his knees. Stike's going to come with me and try to give you a picture of what's happening around the corner here. Now, this is where the cruiser pulled up, actually, on the other side, where this is where the incident, where you see all those cameras, this is where it happened. And his brother is on his knees praying, and the entire crowd, as he got down to pray with him. Do you hear that silence? I mean, this is a neighborhood full of hundreds of people, and the respect they're showing right now.
Chris, I think that Donald Trump has combined the worst of George Wallace with Richard Nixon. You know, when he talks about end it now and then dominate the streets, you know, dominate, it literally, one iteration of dominate is about supremacy. And that's what Donald Trump is about. And let's be clear about it. He has spent full time from the time he ran for president throughout his term in office, full time trying to sow hate and division among the American people. And what he is right now doing in terms of invoking the American military, threatening the American people with the American military, use of the American military against its own people. He is not a commander-in-chief. He is a divider. He is clearly scared. And he cannot meet this moment that he has partly created because of his inability to understand the pain and the suffering. Right now, America is raw. Her wounds are exposed. And instead of having a president who understands it, who empathizes, who lifts up the spirits and acknowledges the pain, we have someone who chooses to hold up the Bible like a prop for his own political gain and for a photo op.
So we can show them both sides. So we can show them that even though they are not peaceful in showing how they detest our skin and how we are and our greatness and our beauty and our power and strength, we'll still show them that we can be peaceful and be better than them, essentially.
You don't want anybody else to die like George Floyd.
We don't want anyone else to die like George Floyd, but George Floyd is not the only person that's died. I had to hold one of my closest friends as he was killed to police brutality, and he has a daughter. He had a daughter. And you don't deserve that. You don't deserve to have to see my anger. You don't deserve to have to see my anger. But I had to go through it. And the reason why I had to go through it was because I was born like this. Because I was born like this, looking like you.
Thank you, sir. That is some raw emotion.
As you can see, the protesters want their voice to be heard, and some, as President Trump does nothing but took a picture and wanted to take a picture with the Bible to please his people to stay and vote for him, the church people. So like with the president, we don't know what he's doing. He doesn't make rational decisions. He makes irrational decisions. I just hope that and pray that he knows what he's doing, because if he don't, like I said, by November, he can be elected out. And Joe Biden can come in and take over and right his wrong, right Trump's wrongs, and make his right. So it's a game of chess at this moment. And we'll be keeping watching as a protest. We'll keep more on George Floyd for his funeral. So thank you all for watching this edition of our George Floyd, the protests, the movements, the anarchy rules. I'll be your host, Kendrick Dix, saying so long.